away. I've got no complaint. Forever dead to the price to survive. Hey, wait, I've got no complaint.
Nirvana's In Utero. This has to be one of my favorite albums of all time. Nirvana is one of the bands that inspired me to become a musician in the first place. And one of the things that I love about this album are the guitar sounds, like a lot of people. If you've been on YouTube lately, especially if you're clicking on this video, you've probably seen Aaron Rash's video series on how to get the sound on this album. It's amazing. And the problem with that series is Kurt Cobain used a lot of weird fucked up gear to get the sounds on this album. I mean, they were a band that went to pawn shops to find their gear, and there's a lot of weird stuff. Quad reverbs with special speakers, expensive microphones, obscure guitars, rare pedals. The problem is you're never going to be able to do this in your own bedroom. And I'm not the only person that noticed this problem. So you might have seen JHS's video with Aaron Rash trying to recreate some of these sounds using some of their pedals, using some stuff that's more common. The problem is, I didn't really think it captured the sound of In Utero. Generally, I find that for just a good baseline sound for In Utero, all you really need is a 4x12, some sort of Fender reverb tube head or amplifier, and some ribbon microphones, and maybe a big space to record in. But one thing that I found, even with the kind of core gear used for In Utero to get like a similar sort of sound, especially even just with a Fender twin reverb or something, is that you don't really get the drive sound. I mean, something about the guitars on this album, they were just overloaded to exploding. And so I've used pedals like the DS1 before, because that's the pedal that was used on this record. And it pushes the amp in a nice way, but it just doesn't go far enough to where it gets really, really fucked up, you know? I like the DS1, but for my money, it's not my favorite. So let me show you what's lately been my personal favorite distortion pedal, fuzz, whatever you want to call it. This is the Holy Island Abracadaver. Now, if you haven't heard of Holy Island before, welcome to the club, because I hadn't either. I've never seen this brand on r/guitar pedals. I've never seen it on JHS. I've never seen it on any pedal YouTube channel. And I think it's a shame, because they do really, really cool stuff. This is the one pedal I've owned by them, but I've seen a lot of their stuff on their website and on their personal YouTube channel, and it's just pretty cool. The Abracadaver is actually an octave fuzz, a high octave fuzz. When I think of In Utero, I don't really think of octave fuzz. I don't really think of fuzz in general. I usually think of distortion pedals. For a long time, I got caught up not playing fuzz pedals because I wasn't expecting them to sound like In Utero through my tube amp. And it wasn't until I saw Aaron Rash's videos talking about the engine pedal, talking about the young man fuzz, that I really realized that fuzz had great potential for giving you just a really f***ed up In Utero sound. Since then, Aaron's videos have mostly moved on. He mostly uses the Sans amp at the DS1, especially in his In Utero IR videos. But I still think there's a lot of potential for using fuzzes to get an In Utero style sound. This is my favorite for getting that sound. When you hear it, it sounds really In Utero. It just has that extra. Now, if you buy this pedal yourself, it won't look like this. I have modded this. This pedal comes with no knobs. If you're gonna get one, I don't recommend modding it yourself. I think the form factor that this is in by default is really, really good. If you want to change the sound of this thing, you're going to have to open up the back of it. There are two variable resistors on the inside. Those both go to what these knobs are now. And you can open up the back and adjust those, but it's really meant to be a set and forget kind of pedal. The thing is with octave fuzz, especially distorted octave fuzz, something like this that has poor tracking, that has kind of a fucked up sound intentionally, it doesn't work great for complex chords. And so being able to adjust the octave knob was kind of a must for me, especially in my band. I love the In Utero sound, but I don't play music like In Utero usually. And so I wanted the ability to adjust just how much octave effect I was getting. And on the fly, I kind of need that outside of the pedal.
Chords played clean, for reference. Chords played through Holy Island Abracadaver, with octave effect set low. Chords played through Holy Island Abracadaver, with octave effect set high.
Abracadaver. It's a pedal that works really great in front of a boost. It's a pedal that works really great in front of other distortions to make them sound more fucked up. If you go to Holy Island's YouTube channel and you watch some of the examples on that channel, that's what this is mostly used for. But for my money, it works really great as just a blow up the front of your tube amp kind of sound. I'm going to compare it to maybe one or two other distortion pedals, a boost, just to give you a sense of the flavor of this thing. Again, I don't think it really compares to the DS1. I think the DS1 is the pedal that was used on In Utero. You're going to get a good In Utero sound out of the DS1. I just like this thing better. I just like using this to get a gnarlier, more fucked up sound. Pop, testing 1, 2, 3, take 2. This thing sounds fucking awesome. I wouldn't have thought that for an In Utero sound, a fuzz could be the way to go. I mean, again, it was kind of a revelation watching Aaron Rash's videos, watching him talk about the Young Man fuzz, and until he puts out the engine pedal, which a lot of us are still waiting for. I think this is a really, really great option. I love the simplicity of it. I love that it's 2 knobs. For anyone who's like me, who watched that engine pedal video and really wants just a scuzzy ass fuzz with teeth that really just drives the fuck out of your tube amp, this works really, really well. Wrapping up here though, I just want to make one final note. This pedal also does a really pretty good impression of a Big Black style tone. You know that really, really high-endy, clangy sound you get out of a Big Black recording? This does that pretty good. By no means perfect, and it's very different than the harmonic percolator IVP setup that Steve Albini has going on Shellac and Big Black, but the impression that this thing does of the kind of Big Black sound isn't bad. There's not a lot of gear out there that gives you that kind of clangy, high-endy, fucked up thing that you hear on this record or on Shellac records, but this does a pretty good impression of it. The only problem I have with this pedal is just with the volume. I really wish this thing had more output. Right here I have this little arrow pointed to where unity gain is. As you can see, there's just not a lot of extra volume on tap after this point, and the volume that you do get just isn't pushing the amp as hard as a DS1 or as just a straight up boost pedal. This pedal kind of reminds me of a fuzz face. If you've ever played a fuzz face before, you know that you really need to have the volume cranked to have enough to just drive a tube amp really hard. I'm not good enough of a modder to mess with the op amp in here and add more gain. That's just not something I have the ability to do, but if there was ever another version of this pedal, I would love it if there was more volume on tap. But what this pedal can do that the other pedals can't do is just do something different to the distortion character of the tube amp. When it comes to an already really powerful tube amp, there's just not a lot of extra tone that can be added by boosting with different pedals. The tone of the amp kind of just comes from the drive character, and so you could really switch between a lot of these and maybe not even know the difference. That's why I like using an octave fuzz, something with a high octave that really just drives the amp and adds an extra sound character that just isn't there. It's why for me, this works so much better as an in utero sound than a lot of those other pedals. Anyways folks, hope you enjoyed this video. I really like the sound of this pedal. I think you should pick one up. Again, Holy Island, small brand. I don't hear a lot of people talking about them, and they make really cool stuff. If you're doing stuff like in utero, I really think you should give this a try. The DS1 is tried and true, but this does something that this doesn't, and I really believe that you could get a better in utero sound out of something like this than just a DS1 alone. Go check out Holy Island pedals, and while you're clickety-clacking on the computer as well, why not subscribe to this channel, The Pedal Thing? I'm going to try and have more videos on weird pedals that I like to use pretty soon. They're not all going to be about Nirvana or distortion pedals, but I thought this would be a good start to the channel because everyone likes in utero. Anyways, y'all, go check out Holy Island Audio and subscribe.